this one.
We were fishing down in East Texas.
Uh-huh.
And Big John and I were, we had taken a break to take care of some business. And, Wally, how am I going to tell this story?
Take care of some business.
Taking care of some business, which, you know, when you're fishing, sometimes you got to go to the bank and relax.
Take care of yourself.
Right.
I got it. Okay.
So, anyway.
It's a little clearer.
I did that, and as I was getting up, I was kicking the sand around a little bit. And I kicked up a little rattlesnake about that long. Was right underneath of me, and Dutton was there, and he saw it, and he goes, I can't tell you what he said. But anyway, that wasn't a very good story, Wally, but anyway.
No, but my understanding, well, I'll let you back that up with the horse story if you want to tell that story. But my understanding was that after you saw that rattlesnake, you kind of went rolling down a hill. That's what I heard.
No, I didn't roll down a hill.
Okay, well, that's the lie you told last time.
But I got out of there for sure, I promise you. I got away from it. It wasn't really a rattlesnake.
Okay, well, all right, what about the horse story, where you went hunting and you remember that one?
About the mule?
About the mule.
You want me to tell that one?
Yeah, and then we'll get back to football. If you can tell that one, because it's a classic. So you got to tell this one if you remember it.
Okay, I remember it. No, I went, Ed Jones and I went hunting.
Okay.
Big Ed and I went hunting down there at a friend of mine's place down around San Antonio. And I didn't know Ed hunted, but he came to me and said, hey, Randy, next time you got a day off, will you take me hunting? I said, sure, Ed, I didn't know you hunted. So anyway, we drove 5.5 hours down there on our day off. We got to the ranch, and we pull in, and I go up to the house. Ed's in the truck getting everything ready, and the guy that owned the ranch, a friend of mine, he said, Randy, he said, I'm a big fan of Ed's. He says, you know, I'm going to have lunch for you when you get ready to come in for lunch. I want to meet Ed. I'm really happy he's here hunting on my place. And I started turning around going back, and he says, could you do one thing before you go hunting? I said, what's that? He said, did you see that old mule out in the pasture as you pulled in? I said, yeah. He said, well, that thing's old. He's suffering. He's sick. I've had him a long time. I said, he said, could you put him down for me? I said, yeah, I'll do it. So I'm walking back to the truck, and I think, I'll play a joke on Ed, right? So I look at Ed, and I say, Ed, I said, we can't hunt. This guy don't like you. He don't like Tennessee State. He wished the Cowboys never drafted you, and we got to go home. So we jump in the truck. I peel out the wheels. We're running down that road, and I see that mule, and I look at Ed, and I said, Ed, I'm going to fix this guy. I slam on the brakes, get my rifle, take a beat on that mule. Boom, I shoot him right between the eyes. I hear this bang, 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 and here comes Big Ed around the corner. He says, hurry up and get out of here, Randy. I got 3 of his cows. Pretty good joke, huh?
Oh, gosh. Here's our Cadillac Drive to Excellence excellent question of the night. And this comes from, Jim, I apologize if I pronounce this wrong. It looks like Jim Katchelmus of Bloomington, Illinois. If Jim's here, hi, Jim. You get to meet Randy afterward. If you were addressing the Cowboys in the locker room, the 2009 Cowboys, what would you say to them or advise this crazy team on how to proceed from here? Or just what advice would you give them?
What advice would I give them?
Yeah.
You know, the thing I've been impressed with this football team all year long is the intensity that they played with, defensively especially, and even offensively. You see guys flying around and working hard. You know, they're not always perfect, but the effort is there. These guys are playing hard, and they're playing tough football. You know, what I would tell them, I said, look, fellas, maintain that attitude. Don't ever lose that attitude. You play 110% every play. You know, the thing I would do, I tell them during the week, prepare more mentally. Not so much physically, but mentally. See yourself doing what your task is over and over and over again. Put yourself in the positions you're going to be in and see yourself being successful over and over and over again. And then when you get out there on the field, hopefully that will help them eliminate some of those, you know, pre-snap mistakes, missing the count, you know, I mean, that's just mental concentration in my opinion. And, you know, that would be the advice I would give them.
Okay. So many players from your generation have come on hard times. I wanted to address a little bit of a serious topic with you. It's the the insurance situation for former players. You look like you're doing great. You look like you could play today.
I'm eating good.
Good. But I hear stories all the time. I think we have a mutual friend named Jennifer who has made it one of her efforts to try to help players who can barely walk and can't get insurance these days.
Right.
Do you know a lot of those guys, or are there guys that you played against that can't get out of bed? And how did you avoid that?
Lucky. When I continue to work out, continue to try and take care of my my body, try and eat the right things and work out. I think if I quit working out, I'd be stove up. I'd probably have trouble walking. But yeah, that's an issue. There's a lot of guys that have physical problems that are down on their luck and down and out, and there's nothing that the NFL is doing to help them.
Why not?
Good question. Well, a good question. Why not is exactly right. There's no health care. There's nothing for former players. There's nothing. If you're hurt, if I had to have a shoulder surgery or a knee replacement, that's all on me. The NFL has nothing to do with that. So, and that's just the way it is right now. Now, there's some groups around, Coach Ditka, Mike Ditka, the Gridiron Greats. There's other guys around doing things that are raising money, and when guys have, the Hall of Fame does that for guys, different events. So when a guy's down and out and needs some help, they have some money there, fund there to go ahead and, get him a knee replacement or get him treatment for his cancer.
So they have money coming in. They have to try to decide where to spend it.
Right. And you know how that usually ends up.
Somebody's always unhappy.
Yeah, somebody's always going to be unhappy. And, the league pretty much, I don't get into the politics, but they pretty much gave that. The owners gave that to the Players Association when they made their agreement back in, what was that, 1982 or 83? And, that was one of the things I said. I did not support the strike. I don't want to get into that, but I'd had some other reasons why, contractual obligations. But, one thing I said, hey, we ought to have health insurance for the rest of our life. We ought to get that in this. Forget about free agency. We ought to get health insurance for the rest of our life for every player that is a vested veteran, and a pension that's worthwhile. And we have neither one of those today.
So I don't want you to get into the particulars of this, but I remember back then you were among those who were, I guess it would be accurate, paid more attention to the issues than others. Would that be accurate?
No.
In terms of where you came up with your philosophies on what was going on between the players and the league?
No, I signed an agreement with the Dallas Cowboys based on performance.
I got it. And you felt committed to that agreement?
Well, it was either that or jeopardize losing the contract that I signed. And I wasn't willing to do that at that point in time. And, Ed came in after me. Tony came back in. So other guys that were, under that same umbrella, had similar problems. But I wasn't against a strike, but I didn't like what they were striking for. Like I said, I would have struck for health insurance and a pension that was substantial enough to when a guy retires, he has an income coming in.
Well, we got about a minute and a half left, and you're one of the small group of Cowboys Hall of Famers, and lately, obviously, some more have gotten in. Bob Hayes, the late Bob Hayes, and
Ray Field,
who obviously deserved it.
Mel
Renfro. Do you have a voice? Do you feel to try to get guys from your generation in? Is it possible to push?
I don't have a voice, but every time I have an opportunity to speak in front of people that will, that do make those decisions, I will sure mention that, there's a lot of Dallas Cowboys, I think, that should be in the Hall of Fame. I always said, Chuck Howley, Leroy Jordan, Charlie Cliff. My problem is I put everybody in.
I know.
Ed Too Tall Jones,
that's why
Harvey Martin.
There's so many. Drew Pearson.
Yeah, Drew.
So many of them.
See, look, we just start naming names.
Yeah.
You're going to leave somebody out. That's why I don't like to do it.
Yeah, hard. That's why I was wondering. It's got to be hard to do because
it's tough.
There's so many guys that you want to get in. Randy, always a pleasure.
Thank you, Will.
Thank you. Give it up for Randy White, ladies and gentlemen. Our special guest tonight on the All-Pro Show. We're back next week. We'll find out what happens between the Cowboys and the Raiders on Thanksgiving. And then we're back with you next Monday night for our next edition of the All-Pro Show. I believe Jason Witten next week. So hopefully the Cowboys will be 8-3. Until then, we'll see you next week.